Welcome to the Cohn phone. Sorry I'm late. Heavy traffic getting from my living room to my bedroom. A lot of things in the way, a lot of what have yous and whatnots. But I'm here. The Niners keep making news. Little Friday news dumps. I have a cut on my face? What is that? I have a cut? I don't know. I couldn't tell you. But the Niners have no special teams coach, no tight end coach. They're getting ruthless. I think during the season, most of us expected the Niners to get, or said they should get rid of Richard Hightower. I don't think anyone really expected them to do it. I feel like the Niners have kind of been like very cliquish with their coaching staff until this year. Now, Hightower got to go. He's going to Chicago. He went to college with Shanahan. They were walk-ons together, I think. So they're friends. And now he's gone. This is ruthless in a good way. You got to upgrade. But the only thing I want to say is I'm glad the Niners are upgrading here and there. Whose job is it to tell Kyle Shanahan to get the ball to Deebo Samuel in the fourth quarter? Is that why John Embry got fired? Because he didn't tell Kyle about getting the ball to Deebo in the fourth quarter? Shouldn't Kyle know? I'm just saying. Like, whose job is that? Like, the official person to remind Kyle, get the ball to – and then also get the ball to Kittle. He seemed to forget about that the last 6 games of the year. All right, let's take some calls. Adam.
Yo, Grant.
What's up, man? How you doing?
Hey, I love the show, man. I just want to tell you that I've been watching it since we lost to the Cardinals last year, and I just remember being so frustrated. I was like, man, it can't just be me. And
Where you calling from?
I've been watching ever since, so I wanted to appreciate that.
For sure.
And
Where you calling from?
I had a question about what do you think we're gonna do with Kinlaw?
All right, let's talk about Javon Kinlaw. Seems like Javon Kinlaw is similar to Jalen Hurd. You know, the guy who's given you nothing and been hurt, but you get like you want to keep giving him chances because Hurd was a 3rd-round pick, Kinlaw's a 1st-round pick. So they said they gave him like a special surgery. It was cleaned up. They sound optimistic. I seem pessimistic. I feel like they drafted a guy with a chronic illness. I mean, not a chronic illness, but a chronic injury that's not going to get better. So I don't know. I mean, maybe they can get a couple of decent years out of him, but I don't think that he's ever going to be a superstar just because of his knee. What do you think?
I don't know. I don't know. I feel like, I don't know, man. I feel like his attitude, like, I really don't know. I haven't seen much of him when he has played. And
He's defensive on social media, right?
Yeah, and I don't like that we keep, like, drafting people getting injured. Like, that just irritates me so much. Like, I don't know. And then
I feel like
my bad,
go ahead.
No. You go. I was going to change the topic.
Oh, no, with Kinlaw, I just feel like they don't need him. Yeah. They don't need him. I mean, if they were to trade a defensive line, if they traded Eric Armstead, for example, for a 1st-round pick, then you would need Javon Kinlaw. But saving that, they seem like they're pretty deep on the defensive line, and anything he gives them is gravy.
Yeah, that's true.
It sucks to miss on a 1st-round pick like that.
Yeah, well, we miss on so many.
Yeah.
And then people keep saying we need to draft wide receivers, but I was just wondering because, like, I think Trent Sherfield's pretty good. Same with Juwan Jennings, and of course Deebo and Brandon Ayuk. So, do you think like we still need like more, like, or is like one of their contracts coming up
at wide receiver? Nah, yeah. I mean they're Jennings entering his 3rd year, Ayuk entering his 3rd year, Deebo entering his 4th year. I think like that's your trio right there.
Yeah.
I mean, you could use like probably a deep threat, someone with some speed, because I think Debo's your fastest wide receiver right now. And Lance is going to be able to take advantage of a deep threat, someone with 4.3 speed. So, I mean, you could probably get a guy like a young Travis Benjamin later in the draft who could fulfill that role.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Grant.
All right, man. Wait, where are you calling from?
California, Culver City.
Culver City, baby. Nice. Have a good time.
Yeah, man. I was like, man, I wanted to see you in LA, but then you got
Is Father's Closet still a restaurant in Culver City? Is that still Father's?
I've never been there.
Anyway, it was there when I was there 15 years ago. Anyway, have a good one. Nice to meet you.
All right, thanks.
Peace. Nathan says, great move to let Hightower go. Special teams was a big liability all year except for the Green Bay. I don't know why some fans were upset. Great move. Yeah, it's possible the Niners get a 3rd-round pick as well. I'm not sure if his contract was up and he went to the Bears. I don't think the Niners get a 3rd-round pick. But if his contract wasn't up and he went to the Bears, the Niners might get. I think they will get a 3rd-round pick. Marcus.
Oh snap!
What's up, man? How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. What's up?
Good morning.
Good morning.
My question isn't about coaching, anything with the coaching tree or anything like that.
Cool.
It's more about the franchise tag and the use
Sure.
of it. And what, obviously, with the big contracts coming up with Debo and Bosa, what my thinking is why can't we use that as a strategy to keep these guys in the club for the next couple of years? And I wanted to hear your thoughts on that.
Well, the franchise tag is pretty expensive. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's like a 1-year deal that it pays you like the average of the top 5 salary, top 10 salaries. You're pretty high up there. And then the next year it's a 20% raise. And then the next year it's a 20% raise. So for someone like Bosa, it may not save you money. For Debo, I think it's interesting because they could say, well, we've given you more carries than targets the last X games. Technically, we're allowed. I mean, they could try to tag him as a running back, which is way cheaper than tagging him as a wide receiver. And then Debo, the relationship would be ruined forever. But didn't the Saints try to do this? No, it was Jimmy Graham who tried to do it. He said they're tagging me as a tight end, but they use me as a wide receiver. I should get paid more. Anyway, that could be one thing.
I was looking at some of the other teams around the league and what they've done, and Chicago did it with Allen Robinson. That seemed like it was a kind of a bust because he didn't really do much this year. But yeah,
I think it's better to franchise tag like low priority positions like kickers, positions that are cheap.
That's what we did last week with Robbie Gould. But I was thinking because the way our team is structured right now, it seems like it's impossible for us to have a top flight quarterback salary with all the players that we have on the team right now. And I guess that's good that we have Trey Lance on a rookie deal.
Right.
But for the future, when you got guys like, the best right tackle in the league, one of the best defensive ends, one of the best, running back, wide receiver.
Yeah, wide back.
It's like, how do you keep all these salaries and build around it? So, thank you for that.
I think it's an interesting strategy. I think to me, what they could do with Debo is look, we're going to offer you, we're not going to make you the highest paid wide receiver in the league. We're going to offer you a little less. And if you want to play hardball with us, we could tag you as a running back. So why don't you meet us halfway? I feel like they could use it in negotiations, but I don't know if they're actually going to do it because that would be really throwing down the gauntlet. I don't see how you could have a relationship with Debo after that if you pull that on him. But they could,
that, man. But
he's had more carries and catches the last half a season, right?
Exactly. Yeah. My thinking was that we can delay those big contracts for a year for each of those guys and kind of layer them over each other. But
the thing that's nice about giving the extension and not doing that is that you check like for Kittle, they extended his contract, but the first 2 years of the extension were still cheap. Like if you do the franchise tag, they make them very expensive now. But if you give a guy an extension, you can kind of like backload it for a couple of years, which is helpful.
Yeah.
So like if they extend Debo this year or Bosa, those two would still be relatively cost effective for a year or two. I'm just saying.
And thanks for all the content, man. Appreciate you.
Thanks for calling in, man.
Have a good one.
Have a good one. All right. Sean says, sign Ryan Fitzpatrick to a 1-year deal. Yeah, he's 39 years old, but he's a vet and good quality backup, someone Trey Lance can learn from. Thoughts? Yeah, I mean, I think he's someone that can win. He's a good player. Only thing is injuries, right? Like Tyrod Taylor gets hurt, Jimmy gets hurt, Fitzpatrick gets hurt. Lance plays a pretty physical style of football. Maybe you want to prioritize durability at the backup cornerback position. I don't know. But Fitzpatrick, I mean, what did he last? 1 game this year? I'm just saying. But yeah, he's a really good player. If you're looking for backup quarterbacks who have track record of winning games, I think Fitzpatrick could win with the 49ers. Good call. Chewy.
Grant, what's going on, man?
How you doing, man?
You?
I'm great.
Good,
How are you?
good.
Thanks for calling in.
Hanging out, man. Hey, so I was watching Cohn Phone yesterday, and you said you thought the Cohn Phone was going to be people asking you questions. So I put together 5 questions I want to ask you, Grant, because I want to hear from you.
Okay.
So first question, do you think adding Kittle to the Garoppolo trade can get a first-round pick and net that? So it would drive up the value and offset, getting Garoppolo.
Hold on just a second. I got to block some users. I got to do whack-a-mole for a second. I got some people who are trying to ruin. Ugh. It's like that dude who goes to the campus at college and just starts saying all the meanest things, the most hateful things. That guy's in here. All right, he's out. Got him. All right, let's start. Sorry, that was distracting. Start over. Let's do it.
All righty. So, first question: do you think Kittle could push Garoppolo's trade value up to a first-round pick if we include him in the trade?
That is interesting. We were talking about that yesterday. The Kittle Jimmy Garoppolo package, because I'm not sure what Jimmy's worth on his own. Might be embarrassing if it's worth less than a 2. If you combine him with Kittle, I think it could be a 1. And those two are joined at the hip anyway. Seems to me that could work. Would you do it? Jimmy and Kittle for a first?
I think at this point, just because we traded 3 firsts for Trey Lance, you might as well, especially since it seems like Kittle is getting phased out of the offense the whole second half of the season. What are we really missing if we get rid of him? I think
they just fired his position coach, which has to be some kind of a message. It feels like if you have a job and you haven't been fired yet or moved yet, but your immediate supervisor, superior just got fired, it's like, oh, what are they trying to say to me, right? That's not good, because the guy they bring in next may not like me like that, doesn't know me. So, yeah, I don't know. The fact that they don't call his number anymore, I went through it. The last 6 games, he was 4th on the team in yards per game. He was averaging like 26 receiving yards a game. Jennings was at 30, and Ayuk and Debo were way past that. So He's kind of getting phased out, which is amazing because they're paying him $16 million a year.
And he questioned Trey all last season, and Trey's going to be the guy next year. So
that's true. You can't phase out a guy making that much money. And if he is, what's the word? A malcontent because of this quarterback switch, then you got to go. You got to go. Very interesting.
Cool. So next question, Grant. I know you talked about Greenlaw being like our best trade chip, or the most like that's like the number 1 trade, Greenlaw. What if we keep Greenlaw? We keep Alshire and Warner. Alshire returns to his like all-pro level from the beginning of the season before he got injured. Would we roll after that with Greenlaw and Alshire and trade Warner next offseason?
I don't think they would trade Warner. I think Warner's kind of taken ownership of the team. He's a leader, and I think they value that. Now, maybe they overvalue it. He definitely didn't have a good year.
D'Amico may be getting a job next offseason. Maybe he'll want to take Warner with him and overpay for him a little bit.
Perhaps. So look, maybe TBD. They wouldn't trade Warner this year, but depending on what he does next year, depending on what happens to D'Amico Ryans, that might be a conversation they entertain in 2023. I could see it.
Because if you remember at the beginning of the season, everybody was down on Warner. He was underperforming. Alshire was playing better than him.
He's going to be very expensive soon, Fred Warner. He's going to be making like $20 million a year. Possible, absolutely, if he's not living up to that, like for the same reasons we're talking about Kittle. Yeah. I mean, they have other linebackers who are good and quite cheaper than him. Good
question. All right, cool. Next question. So is Kyle Shanahan now a better head coach than offensive coordinator? And if so, should he delegate some of the offensive coordinator duties to McDaniel to keep him around, like letting him call plays?
I mean, it's hard to say that because the failure of the season for Kyle was just in that 4th quarter. Like, he was doing great until that 4th quarter, just kind of like 2 years ago. And like, so was it Kyle the head coach who failed in the 4th quarter, or was it Kyle the play caller? Both.
Well, he also failed in the Super Bowl with the Falcons as the offensive coordinator play caller.
That's a good point. I'm just being specific. To me, the failure was not getting the ball to Debo more than once. Pretty obvious. And it's like, play callers should know that. The head coach should know that. But everyone should know that. So I don't understand what the issue is. I still think that Kyle is basically a very good coach who.
So when we look at Kyle's strengths and his weaknesses, right? So Kyle's strengths are assembling a good staff. He's done that. He's gotten elite defensive coordinators. He has Mike McDaniel with him. He's helped John put together a good roster, but he has those decision-making blunders when it's crunch time. Maybe if he stepped back a little bit from the offense and wasn't inundated in that, he could see the bigger picture more clearly, is what I'm thinking.
It's possible, or basically has no weaknesses as a coach. It's just that he can't finish the deal. He just can't get across which I don't know how you fix that. That's what's so crazy and maddening about Kyle is every time you say he has this weakness, that weakness, he answers it and shows that he's really, really good. But then he can't get across the finish line. He's failed the same way 3 times. And it's like, I don't know what to say about it. I don't know how to fix that in particular. Like, do you really need it? Was it Embry's fault that you didn't get the ball to Debo? Like, is Anthony Lynn going to be the guy saying get the ball to Debo? And if that's the case, then shouldn't Anthony Lynn be the head coach? I don't understand. I don't get it. But yeah, I mean, maybe Anthony Lynn is going to be the guy on the team who's like, Kyle, what the hell? Can you get the ball to Debo, please, with the season on the line? Maybe. Lynn
I mean, he has supposedly he respects them pretty well. So maybe he's finally listening to people from the outside and bringing somebody to keep him accountable.
I've always said the Niners need like a coordinator of common sense. Maybe that's Anthony Lynn, because sometimes everyone just whatever Kyle does is right, and no one's like, it's like the emperor has no clothes thing. Would someone please say to Kyle that he needs to get the ball to his best player? Is anyone on this coaching staff going to say it? Maybe Anthony Lynn will.
Awesome. See, Grant, I mean, I knew I'd come to you. I'd get some answers. I'll have a couple more questions if that's okay.
Go for it, man.
So question number 4, because of how successful the 49ers ended the season and the run they got on, everybody forgot about the beef last offseason between Kyle and John. And even NFC Championship week, we heard the rumor of John maybe going back to TV. Yep. Do you think that was real? And how do you think that'll play out this offseason? Will we see that again and hear about it again?
He didn't deny it. He was asked about it, and he was like, well, offers come up all the time. So I guess basically what he's saying is, sure, I mean, there was something on the table, but it never got that serious, whatever. Sound like he was entertaining it. There was an offer, and probably at 3-5, he's thinking, damn, I'm not going to be here next year. Kyle probably will. I probably won't. I got to have a backup plan. I don't know. If it were me and I was starting to think that maybe my position on YouTube or at SI was going to be gone, I'd probably start thinking about the next one. Any person would. So it makes sense to me. He didn't deny it. Then they went on this improbable run. He's going to be here for a while. But it's important to remember with John Lynch, he has the golden parachute. He could probably make $4 or $5 million a year just talking about football on TV, which is a lot less stressful and a lot less pressure than putting a team together. So that's always on the table. I don't know. People are like, you can just promote John and he can kind of go in the background. Nah, he's either going to do this or he's going to make the same amount of money talking about football on television. I don't think he wants to just fade away.
Do you think there's some discord there, though? Is like there's something really going on there?
I do think so. I mean, I think they're friendly to each other in public, but I think it's pretty clear that they have very differing visions for the quarterback position, I think. And I think they both have a lot of pride. Even though John Lynch doesn't have background as an executive, he's a Hall of Famer, and I think he feels like his instincts are correct. And I think there's a big disagreement about Jimmy Garoppolo in particular. I think John was always more enthusiastic about him. John wanted to bring him in. He had to sell him to Kyle. And now, like when you heard in the press conference cut like last week, whenever John talks about, it's like, I just want to thank Jimmy. Jimmy's been nothing but class. It's like, yeah, we get it, man. He loves Jimmy. And Kyle is the one talking about Trey more. I think Kyle's the one who decided, like, this guy's holding me back. We got to move on. And I think John is more like, man, you're throwing a tantrum. Hey, you're not giving this man his credit. And I guess we'll find out which one's right. But I think that's the nature of their tension.
All right, so last question, Grant, and then I'll let you go on to another caller. Did you see the Montana docuseries, that new Joe Montana?
I haven't seen it yet.
I was too young to watch Montana actually play. I watched it, and wow, like it really shows the type of player he was, how great he was. But the thing that stood out to me was he was great in high school, and he, had ice in his veins then. He did it at Notre Dame. Same thing.
He come from behind wins in Notre Dame, right?
Right. And he did it with the 49ers and even the Chiefs after he moved on from the 49ers. So the basic thing is he was the same guy his whole career. Yeah. And it brings up a point to me is like most players are the same guys their whole career. They don't really change much.
They may improve their mechanics or this or that, but they're the same. They're wired the same. Then all of a sudden, they're wired the same. Yeah.
So what I'm thinking is next year when we're going to see Trey play a whole season, unless he gets injured, barring injury, which we don't hope that doesn't happen. Are we going to have a pretty good idea at the end of next season, like how good Trey can really be and what he's going to be as a quarterback? Do we have?
I think we'll see how he's wired, what his upside is. I don't think he's like what he does next year will be the pinnacle of his career.
Right.
I have a pretty good idea of what he can be. I think so.
What kind of player he is, right? What kind of player he is.
Josh Allen, people can see like, man, this guy's really intriguing. He's not quite there yet, but I think people sort of had a feel for Josh Allen in his second year. So
how do you think that conversation is going to go? Because what I see happening is you're going to get all these people who love Jimmy Garoppolo, and they're going to be like, oh, see, 1 year we missed the playoffs. He doesn't have it. But then you're going to have the Trey supporters are going to be like, well, there was stuff there that he could build on.
Well, they haven't missed the playoffs yet. I think it depends on what they do, but I think
if that happens, I'm just saying, like, I could foresee that happening.
We'll really feel for, like, is he turnover prone? Does he manage the game well? What's his football IQ? Can he fix the wobble? Can he add to, like, he's had a whole offseason. How well does he know? I think we're going to have a real good feel for all kind of stuff like that. And I think we'll all understand that he's still 22 and he still has room to grow and improve. But, like, all those questions we'll get some answers to. Because to me, he always struck me as a guy with a high football IQ who will protect the football, but it's been such a small sample size, we don't know. And his interception percentage was exactly the same as Jimmy's this year. So We'll have to see. And
is he going to get back to North Dakota State where he did not turn the ball over at all? Is that the type of quarterback he's going to be?
That's what I'm interested in. I'm sort of expecting that. He wasn't a high-risk quarterback at North Dakota State. He took what the defense gave him. He played on the best team. He handed off a lot. I kind of expect – and I also feel like he was put in a situation last year where it wasn't a one-to-one competition. Whenever he got reps with the starters, he felt like he was pressing to impress. And when he finally got to start against those two starts, I felt like he improved as the game went on because it's a long game. The adrenaline wears off and you settle in, and he is a really good athlete who's very talented. And I think it really showed at the end of the Houston game. So I just like to see him, like, you have no one breathing over your shoulder. You don't have to prove yourself every single day. Just it's your job. Take ownership and get better. I like to see how he does when he can kind of exhale a little bit.
That's why you're the GOAT, Grant. Like, we get this kind of insight right here.
Well, thanks for these are great questions, man. Thank you for being.
So, hey, I want to say one last thing, if it's okay.
Sure.
I'm accused of being a Jimmy Garoppolo stan all season long because I wanted to give, an opposite perspective from Grant. Since, I do some writing for Grant and all this, and I'm a regular caller. We were on the roundtables earlier in the year. I just wanted to play devil's advocate.
Yeah.
I'm a 49er fan, guys. Right. So Jimmy's history, he's gone. I'm going to root for Trey. Trey's the guy. I hope he does well. I told you guys this is how I was going to be. You guys could stop calling me a Jimmy stan. I hope we get as much trade value as we can out of him. And I assume there's a lot more Jimmy stans out there who are like me. We cheered for him because he was playing. We thought he was the best option at the time. But now he's gone. Let's go Trey Lance.
Also,
stop calling us Jimmy stans.
That's fair. And also, like, while you did think he was the best option at the time, and Kyle thought that too, and I guess we'll never really know. All you really said is that he's going to keep the job the whole year, and you were right. So I just want to give you credit. You were right.
All right, Grant. Well, I appreciate it, man.
Have a good one, man.
See you.
Mateo says Kyle needs his own Steve Young to finish out games can't do with mediocre quarterback. Yeah, I think that's why he drafted his own Steve Young. I think that's what the idea is with Trey Lance. What's up, Droopy? I saw that DM. Yeah, that's Aaron Rodgers. What do you think about the type of Trey? Was that you who DM'd me that? Someone DM'd me that. What do you think about the type of Trey's wide receiver, the hype of Trey's wide receiver, North Dakota State? Every time Jim dropped back, it was like casting lots. Trey can bring consistency. I haven't watched Christian Watson yet. I don't really start doing the research until the combine starts because I need to know their 40 times. I need to know. But yeah, Trey can bring consistency. I agree. All right, Niner Gang podcast. You ready?
Ready. What's going on, Grant? How you doing, brother?
How you doing?
Hey, man, I'm alive and I'm blessed. That's definitely more than I can say for anybody that's on the other side of the grass, unfortunately.
Absolutely. All right. Well, what's on your mind today?
Hey, man, I just want to say thanks to you because you always ask the questions that we want to ask as fans. And it's kind of weird because sometimes people won't do it. Like sometimes we want somebody to ask Kyle that hard question and force him to answer. Yeah. Instead of dancing around it, just dipping and diving. It's like, nobody wants to deal with that. The other thing I will say is,
real quick, I want to stick with that because it's I've thought about that a lot. And my dad had no problem asking pointed questions. I mean, newspaper journalists in the past, 80s, 90s, had no problem. But now it seems like most journalists feel more concerned about their relationship with the coach than their relationship with the fans. So if the fans say, I feel this way, I'm angry, I need you to ask these questions and get answers, I think most journalists are thinking, well, I don't want the head coach to dislike me because I got to work with him as long as he's here. So you only see journalists get bold if they feel like the guy's about to get fired. If the guy's about to get fired, then everyone's asking tough questions. But until then, they're like, man, I got to work with this guy. So that's part of it. And I don't really care that I got to work with him. Just saying.
No, man, I agree. I agree with you. Because I be seeing sometimes you'll say stuff and you'll ask questions, and it's like, it is what it is. Some people may not care for it, but me personally, I love it. The other thing that I was going to say is,
the other thing about it really is that Kyle hates it. He really doesn't like being questioned.
Oh, I know. I can see
it. Quick to criticize, to be like, to keep it real with his players.
Mm-hmm.
This guy, he wasn't perfect. And this, hey Kyle, what about what you did today? How do you think you coached today? He looked at you like, how dare you ask?
Like, are you serious?
How dare you ask? I was great. That kills me about Kyle. Anyway,
the funniest thing is like when you watch the pressers and you see body language when questions are asked, like you look and you're like, okay, yeah, this person. Like when we first drafted Trey, Jimmy was visibly bothered because all he heard was Trey, and he was looking. I'm pretty sure in his mind, Jimmy was like, if y'all don't stop asking me questions about this MFer, I ain't got time to deal with this, man. I got a team lead, okay? Yeah. But the thing that I wanted to get to was, I respect the last person that was just on. I respect you, Chewy. But, bro, why are you trying to rip the team apart? What are you doing talking about trading Kittle and trading Warner? And, bro, slow down a little bit, Brent. Slow down. I get it. I understand it. We sometimes there are outlandish things, but let's bring it down a little bit, okay? Not Kittle and not Warner.
Well, what about Kittle? Kittle's interesting to me in the sense that they stopped giving him the ball. He's very expensive. He's had some injuries. He's very close friends with Jimmy Garoppolo. How they got to work this out with Kittle? They either have to start getting him the ball again, or explain to me. I don't know. Kittle's weird.
Here's the thing. Yeah. And I'll tell you this. This is what you got to do. You got to get him the ball again. The reason being is because you cannot pay someone that kind of money and they're not catching passes. I think that George Kittle is the best all-around tight end in the league. He can block, he can catch. Sometimes it's almost like having an extra offensive lineman on the line. But the issue is when you phase him out like he did toward the end of the season, you start looking at those numbers and going, why are we paying him so much money if there's nothing being done? But then you start to look at.
They fired his position coach. Like, what is going on between Kittle and the Niners? I just want to know. Maybe nothing. Yeah. But I feel like the fact that they couldn't get him more than 2 catches in the NFC Championship, like, what is the deal there?
Oh my gosh, I didn't understand any of it, and I understand that people start to try to double him and this and that. But look, Jimmy would throw to Kittle if he was quadruple covered. So I have no idea why we're not.
They can get the ball to Debo and Ayuk, but they can't get the ball to Kittle anymore. That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, that's not good at all. One of the things that I wanted to ask was, I'm a little nervous because unfortunately we get lied to a lot. Okay, I don't trust Kyle when he tells me certain things because I know he'll lie to my face and not think twice about it because I'm just a fan.
Say part of the truth, not the whole truth though. Part of the truth,
right? Kyle treats the fans like we're his side chicks, and he's like, "Look, man, I'm gonna tell you what I need you to know."
He's like, "Hey, man, I'm at the grocery store right now. I mean, don't be walking up on me. My wife's right there."
How many times have I told you to act like you don't know me? All right, we in public.
Walking up on me at my kids' soccer games, man. I will call you.
That is for real, bro. But like, my thing is, from what you know, because I trust you, and I wanted to give you another piece of credit because you called the Kittle contract before anyone else did. And from what you know and what you hear, is Jimmy really gone? Because I can't trust the fact that they're really moving on. Like, I'm scared. I don't know if they're gonna really do it.
Right, and I don't have any inside information. This is how I'm gonna say. I'm gonna put it like this. I think he wants out. I think the Niners want him out. Here's the thing, though. It depends on the market. If the Niners' best offer is a late third from Pittsburgh, will they take it? Because it looks bad. It looks like you lost. It looks like his value went down. You might get some bad press. Would the Niners say, you know what? We're just going to keep him rather than take the hit? I don't know. I would hope not.
Yeah, my thing is the cap hit. It's too much money, and I don't need it to be another year. Honestly, I say this all the time. I feel like we could have went 10-7 with Trey. I have no reason to believe that we would have done worse than that
We could have went
because
10-7 with Nate Sudfeld. It was all about Debo anyway.
yeah, like these are things that are obvious to me. There's a lot of Jimmy fans out there. People hate me because I'm not a Jimmy fan. I don't like him. And after him, his inconsistencies and his injuries and stuff, I was just like, look, man, it's time to move on. And people were like, oh my God, he just wins. And I'm sitting there like, have you seen his playoff record? Have you seen his throwing numbers? The man was along for the ride in the playoffs. Okay, so don't tell me that he just wins.
Were
And
there people
quarterback
in New
stats.
York 10, 15 years ago talking that way about Mark Sanchez when he was young? He just wins. Like, dude.
Hey, and everybody knows that New York Jets defense was solid. Okay, it's just like when Trent Dilfer won the Super Bowl. We know the Ravens defense did that. It ain't had nothing to do with Trent Dilfer, but it is what it is. For me, personally, we got a lot of people in the offseason. So we have no Coach Hightower. We have no Coach Embry. We just hired Anthony Lynn, which I have it on good authority from a buddy of mine who's a diehard Charger fan. This is a perfect hire, and our run game should be way more dynamic. And then, for me, to be honest with you, we need to figure out what this DB situation is because we literally are rolling into next year with Emmanuel Mosley, Diamador Lenore, and Ambry Thomas. And those are our three starters, and we have no one else. So,
So they better make sure they get someone else to compete.
The scary part about it is the free agent market is where we don't dip into. Like, we don't go to free agency for anything. And that I don't understand why. But, I think we haven't dipped into free agency since Scott McClugan was around. And we know how long that was.
It's true. I think it's probably a Parag Marat thing.
Yeah. Because, hey, he's a wizard with those contracts, man. But, I just don't know. So I'm those are some of the things in the offseason we got to focus on. That's going to be a little scary. But, I just wanted to stop in and say hello and say thank you for asking those hard questions that we want asked, because there's lots of times where we as fans, all we can do is sit here and speculate because we don't get the truth out of anyone. And I get it to an extent. The only other thing I'll say is, Kyle, if you ever watch Grant Cohn and you hear me, please just name Trey the starter once Jimmy is out of here. Don't do this back and forth and this competition and all this up, down, in. And we don't need all this crap, man. Give that young man the confidence to know that you're standing behind him fully so we don't have to deal with this back and forth. The games of, we don't know who's going to start until Sunday. Come on, man. We all knew what the hell you were doing. Nobody was dumb enough to think you were going to go elsewhere. But we just want to be able, I personally want to be able to move forward with Trey Lance and see what we have in this young kid. And I feel like next year we should be able to continue to flourish. I went to the Arizona game. I thought that was a really bad game plan by Kyle. I felt like that was like a college style offense that he gave Trey. Mm-hmm. And it was kind of confusing. Like, why are you, what's going on here? Why is he running like 50 times a game? Like, this doesn't make sense. So for me, just continue to progress and get behind him, so the franchise can get behind him. And I want everybody on the squad to jump behind Trey, just like they jumped behind Jimmy, even knowing he didn't do much of anything. The only time that man ever showed up in the playoffs was his previous game because he had the only 2 touchdowns that we had. And for me, let's move on. Let's move forward. Let's, take the franchise to another level. Continue to do what you do, man. You are great at it. I appreciate you for what you do. I know a lot of people have negative things to say about you, but I like you, man. And the other thing is, I know you're a hip hop head, man, so I can appreciate that.
All right, man. Great call. Call in anytime.
Thank you, sir.
Peace. All right. I'm going to jump people to the front of the line if they got their camera on. I'm just saying. But I'll get everyone. Mose.
Grant, what's good with you, baby?
Man, I haven't seen you in a few months. Now you got another kid.
Yeah, man.
Congratulations.
Thank you, man. She's 5 months. She's doing good, man. She drooling all over my hand because she in a teething stage now, but she's
nice
doing
to
good.
Meet you.
You gonna say hi? Say hi to Grant.
Hey, nice to meet you.
Come on, give me a smile. Don't do it. Give me a smile. Okay.
We just had
got to
warm
up to you.
All right.
First, why didn't we see Trey at all in that NFC Championship game? Like,
Just give me a little something. Just give me a little something.
Hey, look, I don't know. I don't know why Kyle decided that injured Jimmy Garoppolo was the ticket to the Super Bowl, but I still feel like they could have made it with injured Jimmy Garoppolo if they had just gotten the ball to freaking I'll never understand why they couldn't get the ball to Deebo Samuel in the final 13 minutes. I'll never get it ever. And there's no explanation they can give either. Like I'm sorry, it's beyond me. Sorry.
Also, why didn't they continue to give Elijah Mitchell the ball out of the backfield? Because every catch that he had was over 15 yards.
Exactly.
He had 3 catches for 50.
I don't know, man.
He was cooking Troy Reader. Reader could not do anything with him catching the ball out of the backfield. Why didn't that continue?
Is it that Kyle is more caught up in what X's and O's he wants to do than like feeding particular players? Like there should be someone on his coaching staff saying, dude, you haven't gotten the ball to Deebo 2 series. Here's 4 plays you could call for Deebo. Pick one.
But Grant, here's the frustrating thing that you see, I see, and all the fans see about Kyle. It's like, yes, you're this offensive genius. Yes, you can scheme it up. But continue to go with what works. He tries to be so smart and think 10 steps ahead, and he goes away from what is clearly working.
In the Super Bowl, it was Mostert and Deebo on the end around. And all of a sudden, gone. This year, it was any way you wanted to get the ball to Deebo. Specifically in this game, the screens. Like in the fourth quarter, all of a sudden, pass protection was a problem. Well, where was the tunnel screen? You threw 2 of those. One of them went for a touchdown. How about 2 more? I'm just saying. But no, we didn't see that. It's rough. It's hard to explain.
So going forward into next season, I'm seeing a lot of people saying we made it to the NFC Championship game. We were 10-7. The expectation on Trey Lance is to get to the Super Bowl, right? Realistically, it's hard to get to the Super Bowl. It's hard to get back to the NFC Championship game. Yes, we've seen teams do it multiple years in a row, but that's a difficult task to do. From your perspective, what is a realistic expectation that would make the fans happy? Like, I know what my expectation for him is, and for me, that's just to come in and play well. We know what we've seen from Jimmy Garoppolo. We know we don't want to see that anymore. We want to see something different. We know you're going into your second year and you didn't get enough playing time that we all thought that you should have received this season. But just come in and play well. You're still continuing to learn. There's defenses, there's blitzes, there's coverages that you haven't seen yet because you haven't gotten full game action. My expectation is just to come in and play well. But what do you think that a realistic expectation for Trey Lance is?
I don't know if it's realistic, but what he's going to have to do to get people off his back is be better than Jimmy, period. He's going to have to win more than Jimmy and have better numbers than Jimmy. So if Jimmy goes to Pittsburgh, the Niners have to be better than Pittsburgh next year. And Lance has to have a better quarterback rating. Otherwise, it's going to be all those people being like, oh, maybe we shouldn't have got rid of Jimmy. Look at Pittsburgh. Now, I expect that Trey's going to have a better season than Jimmy in 2022. I think he's going to play more games, throw more touchdowns, fewer picks, win more. But he's going to – that's the expectation, I think. Otherwise, why'd you get rid of him? Right? She agrees. She totally agrees. She's like, let's see it. Got to be better than Jimmy.
Question.
All right.
Last question, and I'm going to get out of here. I'm hearing a lot of names being swirled around in trade rumors. But I think we have a lot of young talent on this offensive line. Why not move on from Mike McGlinchey? Why not throw him in a trade scenario and see what we can get to recoup some of these picks? I'm not a big fan of Mike McGlinchey. He's great in the run game, but he's not really that good in the passing game. We saw Tom Compton come in and play admirably, as a replacement for him. We have Jalen Moore, who I think you can throw on the outside, and he can do pretty well. Colton McKivitz has shown his versatility playing left tackle in place of Trent Williams sometimes this year. So, I think we got some young guys. I think there's some talent in this draft pool. With the money that Mike McGlinchey would be making on his 5th-year option, why not get rid of that contract, move on from Mike McGlinchey? See,
your daughter's a big McGlinchey fan, man. No, she disagrees strenuously. Here's my thing with McGlinchey, though. Yeah, we all agree that he doesn't need to be here, but he's coming off a quad tear. I don't know that he could pass a physical right now. I think teams, I don't know what his value is. I mean, they picked up his 5th-year option. She's laughing right now because of Mike McGlinchey. She knows. I don't think you can trade Mike McGlinchey. I just don't think so. He would have to come back and show something first.
Right.
All right, man.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
I think she requires your attention. She's like, man, get off the show. Good to
He's
see
like,
you.
you had enough time, Dad.
Yeah, now
All right,
she
Grant.
wants your undivided attention, man. I'll see you.
Good
Peace.
to see you, bro.
All right, good to see you too. Real quick, gonna miss Jimmy, man. Hope Lance is who everyone says he is. Gonna miss Jimmy, man. He ain't going nowhere. You can watch him on Sundays. You can still watch him throw interceptions to linebackers on. I'm sorry, Ben.
What's up? It's been a while.
Dude, yeah. Last time I saw you, you were in middle school. Now you're like about to go to college. How you doing?
Thanks. I'm doing good. I just wanted to come on here and say next year the NFC is going to be so wide open because you've got Tom Brady retiring and Aaron Rodgers getting out of the NFC most likely, probably to another AFC team like the Broncos or the Steelers. You could see one of those. So the NFC is going to be so wide open this year that, the 49ers, it's really going to be hard not to make the playoffs and be one of the top seeds in the NFC. So I think this year, like Trey Lance, it's going to be a good year for him because it's almost going to be easier this year than it was last year, even though you'll still have the Rams in the NFC.
That's
and
what I was going to say.
Else.
It's still a very tough
right.
division, though. Like Arizona, everyone jokes about them. They were 8-2. When Hopkins is there and Kyler's there, they're a very tough team, even with that ridiculous coach they have. And
right.
I don't know. I still wouldn't count out Seattle. It's like the Niners can't beat Seattle,
right.
So it's still a tough division.
Yeah, and I think, they still have a lot of things to get better with, but I think the offensive line would be my main concern because I think cornerbacks, we actually saw a very encouraging thing with the corners this last year. For the offensive line, I think giving Trey Lance, how you get better, I think, is if you make your quarterback as comfortable as possible, and giving Trey Lance the comfortability in the pocket is going to be really key, even though he is more mobile, so maybe not as many sacks, but just making him comfortable. So I think if I were them, I would try to go out strongly and either trade up in the second round and get a offensive lineman, like a right
They
tackle
need
or
Banks
something
to
like
do
that.
something, man. They need Aaron Banks to do something. They
That's
drafted
true.
a guard in the second round last year. They need him to do something.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they'll go after somebody later on because it's going to be interesting to see what they get in the second round because they have two guys. They have Jalen Moore and Banks who both could do something, but I have no idea what they're going to do. So it's going to be interesting to see how fervently they go after right tackle in the draft, if they really make it a priority, if they draft one later on like they did last year.
I mean, it seems like Tom Compton, Cole McKivitz, Jalen Moore, all are cheap options that I would prefer over McGlinchey. So I'm curious to see what they do there. They need Banks to do something. Brunskill's fine, but he's a super backup, not a super starter.
Right. So Mike McGlinchey, I've never really understood it. Can you explain it again? How does Mike McGlinchey? How can we not cut him? Is it like a bunch
they picked
of
up his fifth-year option? It's fully guaranteed.
Okay, so how much would that be? Like $8 million?
Like $11 million.
Oh, wow. Okay. So
I tried to tell him. I was like in press conference, like, so are you going to pick up McGlinchey's fifth-year option? And Kyle's like, I don't see why we wouldn't. Oh. I just want to wear the quality control things to the press conferences so they know it's serious.
Yeah. It's interesting because the 49ers are willing to admit some of their mistakes with all the coaching things. And I think Anthony Lynn was a really good signing. But with some of their mistakes, they're not willing to admit it. And I think a lot of those mistakes are obviously the first round picks that they've made. But there comes a point after 4 years when you just have to admit your mistakes and move on. I think they're definitely doing that with some of their coaches that they fired. So that's a good step forward. Yeah. So.
Good call, man. Good to see you. Don't be a stranger.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right, man. See
Bye.
ya. Let's slow down on Trayton Kittle. His best season came when Beathard and Mullins were playing. Let's look into what he looks like with Lance. Cool. As long as he wants to be here, he should be here, I think. But if you're paying him $16 million, you got to find ways to get him like 60 receiving yards a game. That's part of the deal. That's why they signed him, because they thought the offense would go through him, but no, it goes through Debo and Ayuk now. Stephon Gilmore, 1 to 2 year deal, make it happen. Okay. Hold on. So the coach was going to be next. Coach, you're going to be next. But I got my guy, Jose, who works for me. And since he works for me, I'm going to bump him to the front. The coach is eating a sandwich anyway, so I'm going to give him a minute. And then What's up? Live from Vegas.
What's up, dog?
You're at the
How you
Pro Bowl, man. Is it fun?
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, Vegas is Vegas. It just sucked that, like I told you, they didn't let us get much availability yesterday.
Right. You could just sort of watch them horse around, but you couldn't actually.
I watched them play recess. It looked like us in high school playing or middle school playing lunch.
Is the game today?
Yeah.
You gonna go?
2 hours. So I'm probably gonna leave in like 20 minutes.
Oh, nice.
I was listening to your little hoot stuff about Kittle, and I was like, I got like 5-10 minutes to spare.
All right, man. So what do you want to talk about?
Oh, well, I guess, yeah, we were saying about Kittle. Like, I like that. I was like, I finally got something I could disagree with Grant on for once. So,
okay, let's talk about it.
You're talking about his usage. I mean, the guy was still getting targeted.
That's true.
He was still getting targeted. Yeah. So, how many times do we, like, slander Jimmy Garoppolo?
That's true.
How many times do we slander this guy about he's not hitting his receiver when the guy is, like, wide open, and we're gonna like, try to slight Kittle for why his quarterback is inept? I mean,
that's true. First throw of the game in the NFC Championship game was over Kittle's head. They had that a bunch of times. Look, I'm not saying trade Kittle. I'm just saying if you keep him, get him the ball, please.
Why do you hate Kittle?
Please get him the ball. Like this whole thing of like his last 6 games, dude. Hold on. So starting, he was great against Atlanta. Then Tennessee, 3 targets, 2 catches.
He dropped after Cincinnati. Yeah,
he dropped after Cincinnati. Tennessee. So he had Houston, 2 targets, 1 catch, 29 yards.
I also don't rule out if he wasn't actually more hurt than he let on.
Possible. That's true.
I think he's lying about that. You know, everyone. You know, you had all the other peers like talking about.
That's true.
Oh, is there any injury you want to reveal? And then Trent Williams probably the only one that said something. And then Kittle, like for like 3 seconds was like, "We're all dealing with something." And he's not a big excuse guy. You know what I mean? So I'm like, there was something more to it, wasn't it? It wasn't a big guy, huh? Because we've seen him before. Where he's hobbled versus when he's fully healthy. And I think he even got revealed for a time in 2019. Didn't he like play with like something like broken? Like right something, and it got revealed that I guess
he played through a lot of stuff.
Yeah, something like that. And so I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of variables. I give him the benefit of the doubt in that sense. But yeah, you do gotta give him the ball. You got Trey Lance. You got your developmental guy. You want him to be out there. I mean, come on, look at him.
And obviously, you don't want to start taking weapons away from Lance. If you're gonna make the transition, like, hey, now you don't got Kittle. You don't want that. But as long as I know that Kittle's bought in and Kyle's gonna keep giving him gonna return to giving him the ball, then great, absolutely. You want George Kittle on your team for sure.
But I'll give Kittle his credit. I mean, he is out there. I don't know the exact splits. Do you even know where to look on a site where you can find where someone lined up at? Like that's the site.
No, I don't know how to do that. Like,
that's great. That'd be great because I want to know how much he lined up on the right side versus left side. I would assume he was more so on the right side, helping Tom Compton, because run blocking he was actually stout, and then pass blocking we already know he has pass blocking. So how much time he was used in terms of just pass pro or even being lined up in the backfield, or just using as a little like measly arrow route check down target while he had and then the emergence of Juwan Jennings, that was a pretty good thing to see. I just think you definitely got to use him more next season. He's healthier.
He's worth the money. You got to use him.
Yeah.
And that's like another team I look at him and be like, well, if you're going to run your whole offense through Debo, like, let us take Kittle. We'll give you a first-round pick because we don't have Debo. We love Kittle. We'll run our whole offense through him. And what Kyle has to say is, no, I can use both of them. We're good. Thanks. And Kittle has to say, I want to play with Trey Lance. I think of another team, right? And I think of another team who has 2 top targets who takes up a good amount of money is Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy don't struggle too much on getting the ball to both of them. So now that Deebo Samuel is going to be a top paid player soon, very soon, you're going to have to figure out a way how you're going to have to utilize both of these guys. Otherwise, they're more of a skewed running team. Like, I get it. He's going to block more, but still at some point, how a death by a million paper cuts is not what we want so much. And that's why you got Lance, so you can take more shots. You would assume in theory. Otherwise, what are we doing here? I mean, other than partying in Vegas with DeForest Buckner and stuff. So what are we doing here? Okay. So don't trade Kittle. Would you trade Armstead?
No. Who are we trading? Grant? Who are we trading?
I want to trade someone. Who are we trading, man? Who can we trade?
You just wrote the article. Who are we trading? Who's the top? There's someone on there you truly believe you're trading.
I guess you're trading Jimmy, huh? Jimmy trade.
For a bag of peanuts to the Steelers.
Yeah, probably. Unless the Steelers get Rodgers.
That would, you know what? I feel like there's a wild card team out there for Jimmy. And I was going to shoot it to you like, hey, I'm going to write articles day by day, maybe next week, about who's the most sense. But we'll go a deeper dive teams, Steelers, Houston. I'm spitballing, whatever.
Going back to Miami because McDaniel. If McDaniel
Miami's option. Yeah, you're right.
I don't know if Stephen Ross will allow it because they're so focused on Tua over there. But McDaniel might say, "Look, I need a backup. Tua gets hurt. I want Jimmy." That would, and I think Jimmy would love to play in Miami. Jimmy seems like the kind of guy who would like Miami. I like Miami. Who doesn't like Miami? I'm just saying.
I didn't like Miami. That place was kind of overrated, to be honest.
What'd you say?
I said it at Airbnb's, dog.
All right, man. Go have a good time. Go to the game.
Yeah. Right, have your fans. Have your good followers. All right, Grant.
All right, man. I'll talk to you soon. Later.
All right.
My man.
Sorry to make you wait, man. How you doing?
Dude, I've been really good. I've been so busy, man, but that's a whole nother conversation.
I just want to say the main reason I did this today, because you didn't call in yesterday. I was like, where the hell did he go? You haven't talked since the NFC Championship game. You got to.
I feel special. I feel special.
I was like, coach. I'll do
Look,
it.
I'm out with my girl right now. I'm trying to keep a relationship alive, so bear with me.
All right, man. Well, say what you got to say. I won't interrupt.
All right, so look, there's a couple of things. Number one, I feel like for the money that George Kittle is paid, you're not looking at what he's actually here for. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like what he does in the passing game, what he does in a dynamic situation where he gets the ball, that's fine. But the reason why we don't miss Mike McGlinchey is because of George Kittle. There's a lot of on-tackle, off-end things that Kyle has done with George Kittle that have put him next to Tom Compton, that have made Tom Compton serviceable in the stay of Mike McGlinchey. Mike McGlinchey is an imperfect vessel. We understand that. But the reason why you pay George Kittle the money that you pay him is not necessarily for what he stacks up in the stat line, but it's what he does in the run game. And the thing about that is that styles make fights. So if you're going to be a fan of the 49ers, then you need to understand that what you're looking at isn't necessarily what the rest of the league looks at as a fan, which is the stat line. Run blocking does not come up in the stat line.
No.
What you do to run blocking is an attitude. Run blocking is a purpose. And one of the things that we know that George Kittle has bucket loads overfilling with is attitude, team confidence, and what he brings to the run game. So that, I mean, we know that I'm not gonna shit on George Kittle. I mean, not George Kittle, but I'm not gonna shit on McGlinchey. But the reason why Tom Compton looks serviceable is because we attach George Kittle to what he does in the run game.
And part of the reason he's not getting as many targets and catches is because he's in pass protection a lot. Literally,
he's in pass protection.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. He's making a lot of things go for us too.
That's all the more reason to get a better right tackle, man. Look, I understand that he's a great blocker, and that's part of why he's getting paid. But he's getting paid for the whole package. He is the whole package. Would you let him be the whole package, please? Please. And I could look, if John Embry said something to Kyle after the season and that's why he got fired, like, dude, how do you let your all-pro tight end get two catch? I would almost applaud John, because someone has to say it. Someone has to tell Kyle, you got to throw to George.
But let me ask you this, Grant. If George was solely looked at as, like, let's say a garden variety tight end, and he was asked to just, let's admit it, today's league is a passing league, correct? If George Kittle was solely looked at for what he does in the pass game, would he be that special?
No.
Exactly. No. So you have to admit that the reason why George Kittle is special is because of the entire package of what he brings.
No question about it.
So I feel like when he's not targeted, yes, we can swim in that soup of, well, we don't see him in the passing game, but it's kind of like, yeah, but how many tight ends that like, can Travis Kelce cannot be seen in the passing game and be as special? Can he still be Travis Kelce if he wasn't catching the ball?
No.
George Kittle can.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Right. So I feel like there's
here. I'm just saying, I'm trying to like do some quality control on the play calling. Like, I know he's a great blocker, and I know you have to use him in pass protection out of necessity, but you also have to find more targets for him. Period. Find it. If I were the owner of the team, that's how I would say it. Kyle, I'm paying this dude $16 million. I need 5 catches. Figure it out.
But I like what you said. If you were the owner of the team,
Yeah.
But if you're the coach of the team, there's a biology and a chemistry to understanding that these guys are warriors, especially when you have a team that operates in good faith. I don't think the fans realize that the 49ers are a special locker room where this is hard to understand. Every pro player doesn't want to play hard. Sometimes the money is enough.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Figured out in 8th grade, man. This is my ticket to wealth.
This is it.
This is it.
Once I get a check, I'm good. We actually have a pro football team where guys want to play hard.
That's true.
You know, so as that goes into my next point about Kyle not using certain players for certain things. I think that you have to understand. I mean, I talked about the 49ers. I thought the Niners were going to lose this game. I was off by what the Rams were going to beat us on, but I was spot on with how much we would generate as an offense, 17 points. I think I said that we would go.
I said 17-2. I thought the Rams would score 13.
Yeah, I thought the Rams were going to score 31, but they shit the bed in the red zone.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? But we scored 17 points, and only reason why I said the 17 points, Grant, is because you can play. One of the gifts of being a play caller is not necessarily understanding what you can do, but understanding the capability of where your players are at the moment. And we were a spent team.
Yep.
We were an energy depleted team, and that has nothing to do with the merit, the heart of our team, but that has everything to do with the biology of understanding. It's like being in boxing.
Yeah.
Too many punches, you're going to get punch drunk. I don't care how great of a guy you are.
That's right.
Muhammad Ali got punch drunk, and he had one of the biggest hearts ever. So I saw that game against Green Bay, and I said, we're punch drunk. There's no way that a team can bounce back from that type of physical exertion and that type of beating and be able to be up for what the Rams had to give us in the NFC Championship game.
This is interesting. Like, real quick, the parallels between 2013 and 2021. 2013, they were a wild card team. They ran the table on the road, very hard to do, had a lead in the fourth quarter, blew it. Same thing with this. I mean, it just seems like the fatigue factor, not just physically, but like mentally, the whole thing.
But the context is different, though, Grant. That's the minutia of it all. The context is different, where we could be 2000. I know, bro. We could be 2013, where that team, in a sense, crapped the bed. But I feel like I have more self-satisfaction over this team because we went out on our shield.
Yeah.
We ran out of gas. And when you know what it's like to have a team that's pushing and pushing and pushing to do what they can do to make things happen, but you almost kind of see it.
Coach, I love what you're saying, and it makes it less painful that they lost. But to me, I don't think Debo ran out of gas, and that's why, to me, he could have dragged him to the across the finish line, but they didn't let him, and that's why he was crying. And I felt it. I felt those tears. I do.
Yeah,
I understand that.
Right, but then I'll counteract with this. Sometimes, as a coaching staff, you've got to be able to save your player from himself. Okay. And you have to understand that. I understand that you want to be there. I understand that you're there for the moment. But what is it for us to push you to the brink where it's about recovering and understanding that you have given us everything that we can do? You got to understand, this coaching staff is seeing Debo through the week. They're understanding what he's given through the practices. And if he's barely giving us what we need through a week, then how much are we willing to give a guy who we know earned a contract? He earned a payday, but how incumbent is it upon us to give a guy a payday when we know we hurt him during the season?
He got 11 touches in the game. The previous two playoff games, he got 13 touches. It just seemed like an odd time to do okay, hey man, you're done. Like, what? This 13 minutes,
right? And you know, and you're in a luxury position, Grant, because hindsight is 2020. You can sit back and you can look at the stats and look at the numbers and the touches and say, well, why, what, when, where, and how. However, that when the bullets are flying, there's a minutia and there's an emotional temperament to the game where you're saying to yourself, well, Elijah hasn't gotten the ball yet. He should be fresh. There's so many variables that are happening during a game where we've passed the ball a couple of times. O-line has gotten 3-4 plays of a blow. They should be ready to give us a hard rep right now. You know, and I'm not here to fault you because it's your job. It's your job to keep us to a level of scrutiny that makes sure that we are living to the letter of the law. And ultimately, a lot of fans don't understand that you're an advocate for the fans. This organization makes a ton of money hand over fist, and the fans need a voice.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I understand that wholeheartedly, but at the same time, one of the things I feel like some of the things that you may not understand at times is that the coaching staff and the players, if this is the Titanic, they're in the coal room shoveling the coal into the furnace.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They're not enjoying the luxury suites up top, flying high. So, in Kyle's and I get that from being a former coach. Sometimes, you know, his legacy is on the line, his reputation is on the line, and one of the reasons that even Jimmy had a prolonged opportunity this season is he has to answer to a group of men that are going to look him in the eye at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
So you can sit back and say, why didn't Debo get this last shot? You know, or why isn't George Kittle getting this extra rep? Why isn't he being highlighted more? But sometimes there's a minutia to the locker room that I feel like is going to lend itself to the maturation of where Kyle is trying to be as a coach. And that's understanding the people around him and understanding how to coach that team at the same time.
All right, man. Great call. I got to take a couple more. You did a good job. Go find your wife because I heard that she was getting mad.
Yo, she gave me the side eye a couple of times, bro. We good.
Peace, man.
Hey, man, sorry I missed last time, man. Good job.
All right. Sorry. Thanks, man. Later. Kev says, what do we learn from training camp this year that carried over into the season? Jimmy G interceptions aside. D Ford and Lance look like ballers. I mean, D Ford looked good, but he didn't actually have any. There was no contact. I thought Ambry Thomas looked good in the one-on-ones. I think there were some videos that I put that. I was surprised that he was so bad in preseason. That carried over. Elijah Mitchell, everyone liked him. Kittle not getting the ball very much in training camp. That carried over. How about that? Remember that? Jordan, you ready? Jordan B? Jordan B? What's up, Jordan?
Hey, what's up, man? This has been a long time in the making, man. All right, okay. So I had a couple topics that I had for like a couple weeks ago. So some of these might be a tad outdated.
Okay.
But I'm gonna still try to work with it. Okay.
Okay. All right.
I once saw a YouTube comment dealing with what's his name, Jimmy, and he said it was like saying that he does enough, he still wins. Why did he get a pass for doing just enough? Imagine Patrick Mahomes doing just enough.
Yeah.
Why does he get is it because of his looks? I mean,
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's
just
yes.
something.
His looks, his pedigree. You know,
pedigree.
He was groomed by Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. Like, if Jimmy were drafted by the Browns, where would he be right now? But he has this New England aura. That's part of it. And also
he got to lead.
Yeah, I think so.
Because for me, he's like you always said throughout honestly, you kept me watching this year. I've never watched as much 49ers football as I have this year. I thank you for that. Like, the way you kept it real, he's just mediocre, and that's fine. But let's not boost that. All right, let me get off of him. I think, and this is one topic that I had for a couple weeks ago. That Bills, what is it called? The Bills and the Chiefs game. That really kind of proved how valuable a mobile quarterback can be.
Yeah.
Now, I once said that to Rob Shue. Shout out to him, and he said that is very true. But they're not very common. So, I mean, once they come around, you definitely have a diamond. But I mean, also Trey, he's mobile, but I notice he'll like hesitate while he runs.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, you're moving at like 5 miles per hour. You have another level I know you can get to.
Yeah,
but
can
he's
you get out of
looking at
second
that.
gear, please? Can you put this into fourth
Exactly.
and fifth gear, please? And he's always like starting and stopping. Like, no, man, sprint.
Right.
Sprint. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But he definitely, I can't wait to see that in action.
Real quick though, I mean, like,
I'm sorry,
watching the playoffs,
I was getting
real quick, when you're watching the playoffs, right, and it's like Game and Beyond, and it'll be like Mahomes and Allen going at it, and both of them like one up in each other, and Burrow's doing stuff like that, and then it's Jimmy's time to be on national television, and it's down to the very end, and he's just like freaking out. You know, it's like it's so obvious when you see all the other quarterbacks in the playoffs what they do, and then this dude like literally crap the bed in the fourth quarter repeatedly, and people are like, it's something about the way he motivates people. Like, nah, it isn't.
He had bricks in his shoes. I've never seen a quarterback, because here's the thing, Tom Brady, I hate to just go to one of the best of all time. Okay, let's just stick to somebody who stays in the pocket, right? They usually can make it up with plays that get you down the field, or with somebody who's not looking. He's staying in the pocket and not being mobile for 10 and 15 yards. Yeah. I'm like, that's doing enough?
Yeah.
And I said this the other day in chat. It shouldn't be we only can get a ball to Debo. Wouldn't it be cool to not just have to rely on one person? I mean, isn't that like, I don't know, man.
It would be really cool. It would be, and also like, I feel the Niners have the best collection of weapons in the league. Like the Chiefs really good, but the Niners have Debo, Kittle, and Ayuk plus the run game. Like,
and that's what I'm saying.
Any good quarterback should be putting up 40, 50
year.
touchdowns. Yeah. The fact that he can only put up 20 touchdowns and do 12 picks, not even a 2-to-1 TD-INT ratio with that supporting cast, that's not good. And
that's doing enough?
What are his numbers going to be when he goes to the next team?
But
not
that's
great.
doing enough. I guess he can do enough on another team, man. I'm tired of just enough. I'm tired of it, man.
Yeah, go be enough somewhere else.
I'm saying, bro.
Go let the next fan base celebrate your enoughness.
Yeah, exactly. I guarantee it's probably only because he was a 49er. If he's on any other team, I guarantee them looks ain't gonna save him there.
Niner fans wouldn't care about him.
Oh, 100% no. 1,000% no.
If Jimmy Garoppolo were on any other team, Niner fans wouldn't care about him. If Nick Bosa were on any other team, Niner fans would have a bunch of opinions about him. But he's on your team, and you love him. And I just want Niner fans to remember that. Like, you always have the players back when he's on your team, and as soon as he's gone, it's like you never knew him anymore. How do you feel about Matt Breida these days? It's like, I don't know who that. Vaguely remember that guy. It's not your team anymore. Just remember that.
Yep.
All right, man.
Oh, man. Thank you, man. I appreciate this call. I'm calling from a VA.
VA, man. There's a lot of people from the DMV that call into the show.
Mm-hmm. I was a 49ers fan because of my pops in 2013. Oh, okay. The year they went to the Super Bowl. Yeah, exactly. but yeah, I'm a young man. So, but yeah, hey man, great to talk to you. I really appreciate what you do for the media and like how you talk about the 49ers, bro. And I hope I sound like a Jimmy stan, bro. But yeah, I'm gonna call you another time, man. Keep going, bro.
Please do. All right, man. Have a good one, Jordan. Later. Oh man, Amin.
What's up?
Ben called in a minute ago. My wife was like, "What happened to Amin?" I was like, I haven't seen him in a minute." Good to see you.
Yeah,
it's funny. I don't see you in bed for like 3 months, and all of a sudden you look way older. You got the mustache popping. Yeah. Wow. All right, what's up?
Well, I've been still thinking about the NFC Championship loss because that NFC Championship loss hurt. Obviously, another 10-point lead blown. Like I was sitting watching the game in the third quarter. Like, there's no way, right? Like, there's no way Kyle can let this happen again. 17-7. There's no way Kyle allows it to happen. But then we end up losing the game, obviously. Now, going back and watching that game, now, obviously, a lot of people put the blame on Tart for dropping the interception. Now, obviously, if Tart made that catch, it would have helped us a lot because we could have drained clock. But at the same time, nothing would guarantee that the Niners would go down there and score, or at least put some points up on the board, whether that might be a field goal, whether that might be a touchdown. But obviously, that Tart interception, if he made that, would help. But there were so many other like situations and plays in the games that you could look at where we couldn't capitalize. Like if you look at in that game, there was 2 or 3 drives where we were at the Rams' 50-yard line and we couldn't get a field goal. All 3 of those drives. There was 3 drives I remember specifically that were at the Rams' 50-yard line. We couldn't even get 10 or 15 more yards to get into at least field goal range.
Mm-hmm.
At least field goal range, not a touchdown. At least field goal range. Like 10, 15 yards. That's all you need, Kyle. And you couldn't do that much. You couldn't, like, it just doesn't make sense to me. And even when you look at the fourth quarter, Deebo Samuel, like, he got no touches. You relied on Deebo Samuel the whole season. You relied on him so freaking much. So freaking much. Deebo, you could see Deebo at least, 5 or 6 times in the backfield. Deebo's involved so much every freaking game. But when it matters the most, when it matters the most,
you're there. He's the main reason you made it.
He's the main reason you're there. And, NFC Championship game, you don't use him in the fourth quarter. That doesn't make sense to me. You use Deebo all freaking year, but when you need him and when you have to use him, you don't.
And what was his response? Crying. I mean, it's not like he was like, Coach, I'm a little tired. Can you give the ball to Jawan Jennings? He was like, Coach, can you let me take us to the Super Bowl? And Kyle's like, nah, man, we got to throw this pass to JaMychal Hasty.
Yep.
Sorry.
And in those type of situations, it's like Kyle relies on Jimmy to do stuff. And I'm like, dude, even if you look back on 2019 and so many other games, right? Like, I remember a couple of weeks ago, I think like the day after the NFC Championship game, you and Vish were talking about, is Kyle Shanahan a choker? Right? And I think you guys were talking about, is Kyle Shanahan a choker? And Vish said no, which I disagree with. Because if you look at even his days in Atlanta, right? That Super Bowl, a lot of people bring up 21-3, 28-3. Kyle Shanahan and that Falcons offense only put up 7 points the whole second half. 7 points. 7 points the whole freaking second half.
And 21 points the whole game. 7 of those, 7 points under 28 was a pick 6. So it was not a great offensive performance.
It wasn't a good offensive performance, especially in the second half. That whole offense couldn't do nothing. And a lot of people say, okay, Kyle this year and, on his time with the Niners, people say, oh, his quarterback is Jimmy Garoppolo. He had Matt Ryan, who was the MVP that year.
And he had a 25-point lead. If you can't win with a 25-point lead, I don't understand. You might just not be able to do it. You might not ever win the big one. That's my thing with Kyle. It seems like he's got the roster. He's got the quarterback now. I like Trey Lance. He's the problem. He can take you right to the end and then he'll blow it. And he's done it 3 times now.
Obviously, like I said, that Falcons game, right? Like, you had Matt Ryan, who's the MVP that year, and they couldn't do nothing on offense. Even if you look at the Super Bowl, right? And that Super Bowl, it's hard because that Super Bowl we should have won. You look at that Super Bowl. The Niners got an interception with 11:49 left on the clock. The Niners go on offense. They give the Chiefs the ball, and they only had like a 2-minute drive. They couldn't do nothing, and they give the Chiefs the ball back with 9 minutes and 40 seconds left on the clock. Then the Chiefs go and they have this drive, and they leave 6 minutes on the clock, 20-17. Mm-hmm. The Niners gave them the ball back with 5 minutes and 20 seconds left. Mm-hmm. They had 1 minute. They only used 1 minute of the whole entire clock, and it was all Jimmy throw the ball, Jimmy throw the ball, Jimmy throw the ball, Jimmy throw the ball.
Yeah.
Like, why? In the NFC Championship game that year, you ran the football, and Jimmy only had to throw the ball 7 freaking times.
That's right.
And then in the Super Bowl, for you to hold up a Lombardi trophy, possibly hold up a Lombardi trophy with 6 minutes left, you decide to throw a Jimmy Garoppolo a whole freaking drive?
Pass, punt. What?
Yeah, like that makes no sense. Especially when you have Mahomes on the other side, then Mahomes did what he did, right?
But he did the same thing in this too. Yeah.
Yeah, and then if you look at this game, right, like there's so many drives that we had where we should have capitalized. And not even a touchdown. We're not asking you to put, obviously touchdown would be great, but even just a field goal. And the offense couldn't do nothing.
Yeah.
And it makes no, especially when we
Here's the thing, real quick, I want to say something. It's like Niner fans pretty much agree that Jimmy Garoppolo can't win the big one, right? Not good in the playoffs, crumbles in the big moments, basically a choker. Good regular season quarterback, but not equipped for the big moment. What about Kyle? Right?
And people say Kyle overthinks, right? People say Kyle overthinks in big situations and big moments. I don't even think it's overthinking. I just think it's plain stupidity. Some of the things, like even if you look at the NFC Championship game, like you use Deebo all year, dude. All year you use Deebo.
Yeah, it's like maybe it's not
overthinking. You don't use him in the biggest game.
Lack of thought. Maybe it's like panic and your brain just goes blank and you stop thinking clearly. It's not overthinking. It's not thinking.
Yeah, it's basically not thinking. How is it overthinking? Like, it's not overthinking.
It's not overthinking. It's like, I forgot to get the ball. Oh, my God. Deebo had 1 touch in the fourth quarter. Oh, my God.
1 touch in the fourth quarter. The same guy.
Why didn't you tell me that?
The same guy that used Deebo Samuel on a 3rd and 7 in the NFC and the divisional round decides to only give Deebo Samuel 1 touch in the fourth quarter of an NFC Championship game.
I'm sure the Rams were real happy about that. I'm sure that really pleased them.
Yep. Well, now they're in the Super Bowl, so.
Well. I mean, I got to take some more calls, but don't be a stranger, man. Don't be a stranger.
Yeah, I got to start calling anymore. Hey, can I shout out my channel real quick?
Please do.
Hey, if you check out Me and the Dream, that's my YouTube channel. If you haven't already, please subscribe. I'm trying to get to 600 subscribers. I'm like,
baby. Watch that.
So,
that's right.
If you haven't already subbed to the channel, please go do so.
All right, man. Have a good one.
Man.
See you soon.
You too, man. Peace.
All right. Hold on, not you yet. Hold on. Sorry, Ethan. Rams before you. What's up? Remilly report.
Hey, Grant. Just wanted to check in.
I was hoping you would call in this week, man.
Thank you, man. I got one word for you. Oh,
congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I got one word for you. The reason why the 49ers and Kyle lost the championship game.
Tell me.
Watch this. Watch behind me. Cabo. Remember? I got it on my sports channel, a little clowning, when Kyle went on that podcast and, oh yeah, you got him. And McVay with his high-pitched voice. Remember when we got Stafford? That's when he lost this game.
Ooh.
So that's a good story for you. Cabo. Kyle was sleeping at the wheel. Thought, they told him, hey man, if you want to get Stafford, you better get the phone.
Yeah.
Didn't get it.
That's right.
He sealed his fate right there. And
wow.
And one thing too, I know you have a lot of callers. Thank you for letting me come in.
Of course.
I'm a longtime Ram fan. I've been through the Tony Banks years, the Niners beating us 17 times in a row, believe it or not. I've been there, been through it. So 1989, the Los Angeles Rams go on the road against Joe Montana's Niners in the championship game. But before that, the Rams beat Reggie White's Eagles on the road, beat them, then go to LT's Niners at New York, beat them. Then 3 offensive linemen go out. They go to the Niners candlestick, arrested Joe Montana team in the championship game, take a 3-0 lead, about to take a 10-0 lead. Jim Everett throws a bomb. Ronnie Lott knocks it out of the air, and the rest is history because the Niners beat us 30-3 because the Rams were beat up. Flashback to 2022, the Rams got revenge for 1989 championship game on our home turf. So I just wanted, so as a Ram fan, remembering that day, it was super sweet. And so I just want to tell you, Cabo is the reason why Kyle lost this game. It'll live in.
Well, I just want to say that I didn't remember 1989. I was 1 year old.
Yeah.
That's before my time. But what is cool is that this is a legit rivalry now. The rivalry the last 10 years was San Francisco and Seattle. Now it's San Francisco and LA. And I think it's going to be around for a while. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
And I want to tell all the Niners and yourself, wonderful media, how they were talking about how the Rams are soft with players like Donald and Von Miller. Now they're not. And the Niners were spent, and that's your fault. That's their fault for not having a good enough record. Having to go on.
Yeah, it's their fault for starting 3-5. That's their fault.
Yeah, but we still have to finish it. Burrow's a different monster. Hopefully we can get after him. But imagine
you're saying Joe Burrow is better than Jimmy Garoppolo.
Well, no, but we were spent with you guys. It's like getting the gorilla off of our back. True. You know what I mean? And the idea of the 49ers on our home turf getting to the Super Bowl, possibly winning it, there's no way that can happen. There's no way. So almost.
What did you think when the Niners phased out Deebo Samuel in the fourth quarter? He got 1 touch. What do you think of that?
Oh man, I love Deebo. It's Kyle did Kyle things. Yep. Just like we were expecting Jimmy to do Kyle things. I mean, Jimmy to do Jimmy things at the end.
That's what I'm saying, man. They're both kind of the same in their failures. Who do you think's a better coach? Who would you rather have coach the Rams, Kyle or Sean McVay?
Well, I've always said this, that Kyle reminds me of Norv Turner. He's a hell of an offensive mind, but he's not a head coach. That's my mind. Look what he did with the trade this year. Almost, he's better than that, but he's a hell of a, his running scheme is second to none. It's very complicated. McVay's is not as complicated, but there's different personnel. We don't have that big offensive line like they do.
You don't have the fullback either. True.
Yeah, and the fullback. So, but I'm just so happy that the guys, and we didn't even remember I was talking to about Sebastian Joseph Day. We did this without him. So Ashawn Robinson,
Gaines guy had a big game. 91 had a big game.
Greg Gaines, my brother Greg Gaines, the spirit of Kevin.
Who the hell is Greg Gaines? That guy was good.
Yeah. So then we have a 50-year-old Whittle in the backfield because our safeties were hurt.
Who made like the play of the game on 2nd and 1.
Yeah. So
Niners convert on 2nd and 1. I don't know that the Rams win that game. Weddle comes in and gets that tackle for loss. Crazy.
And to my boy Tart, he did a Bill Buckner play. He dropped that interception.
It was a Bill Buckner play.
But also the pressure was so bad. Look at Ramsey dropped 2 picks. He had one like this, and he had one like this.
Good point. Hey, you think the Rams? You think the Rams signed Tart?
You know what? With Les Snead, you know, I wouldn't put nothing past him. I wouldn't put nothing past Les. I wouldn't put nothing past, and this is just to mess with the Niner fans. I wouldn't put nothing past Les Snead telling OBJ to go over to talk to Debo to recruit him.
Be like, hey man, you want to get the ball in the fourth quarter? Come over here.
But I just want to come on. Thank you, Gruff, for bringing me on. I just wanted to tell Niner fans, props to you guys. You know, you guys started out 3-5. My brother Tommy Huxley's on there. You know, we got our chain back, Debo. We got our chain back. So we're on to the Super Bowl, and we're ready to go, baby. We have the job's not done, but this was a first Super Bowl because we had to eliminate the Niners. We gave them life, and we took it away. So it's only fitting that we had to do that.
That's true.
But yeah, just remember that. Cabo.
Have a good one, man.
All right, brother. Thank you, Grant. Take care, man.
Peace. Yeah. All right, Ethan.
What's up, Grant? How you doing?
I'm all right, man. How you doing?
You good off COVID?
I'm fine. Seem to be okay. Yeah.
There we go. All right. So today's topic is about the coaches. I just want to know like your thoughts on like what Lance's impact is going to be on the coaching staff. Because to me, I have like three coaching positions in mind that will heavily get impacted because of him. And it's starting with D'Amico, defensive coordinator. I feel like a lot of his success this season came from the fact that he has to go against Lance every practice. He got to see different looks that he would never get with Jimmy. And even Warner came out and said like, hey, Lance is cooking us in practice. So, you know what I mean? So there's that for that one. And then I would say with the quarterback coach, Rich Scangarello, I know you haven't been too high on him. I don't really think that much of him either, but I think he should at least get another chance with Lance. I feel like it's on Jimmy's, like it was on Jimmy that he didn't improve. Like the things he wasn't improving on, like as a veteran quarterback, you shouldn't have to be told by a coach, you need to improve on this as you're throwing fundamentals. You know what I mean? And so I think in the time we saw Lance, we saw improvement with him, like throughout the games, throughout the season. I feel like his mechanics kind of changed too later on. Like I felt like he had a faster release than when we saw in preseason. And so I don't know. I think he is going to give a new perspective to Rich Scangarello. And then with Kyle too, like we were just saying, what Amin was saying, like how he kind of blanks out under this pressure. And I feel like a lot of that pressure comes from the fact that he knows his quarterback can't make him plays. So he has to make the plays all by himself pretty much. It's either I need to get the ball to Debo somehow, which the defense is expecting, or I need to run the ball, which they know I want to do. But if I give it to Jimmy, I'm probably screwed. And so I don't know. I feel like he does make blunders, but there is times where these mistakes wouldn't be so big if he had a quarterback that can like help him out instead of, you know, going against him and basically being a net negative. And so with Trey, like he can make his own plays. And what the difference between him and Jimmy is that Jimmy executes plays sometimes, but Trey can make his own plays. And I feel like that's going to help Kyle out a lot in these situations. It's going to take a lot of pressure off of him. And we won't really scrutinize him that much for these mistakes because it won't be as big of a deal. So, yeah, I think
that's why I think they should have been starting Trey Lance all year, but okay.
Yes. I don't know. I think they should have started him all year too. I didn't see the reason why they started Jimmy, but because it is what it is and they're in this position, we can only make projections. But yeah, I don't know. I think Lance is going to help the coaching staff and everyone on this team, and we're going to see a whole new, different perspective on things. I feel like Jimmy brought a lot of people down.
It was funny, like watching my views on YouTube. They were really high all year because of this quarterback. I mean, good season, dramatic season. But when Lance started against Houston, like Niner fans were like, "Whoa!" It was just way up for that week, and everyone. It was just the Houston game, but Niner fans were so excited. And then Jimmy came back. It was like back down to what it was. It's like Niner fans are just. I think they have Garoppolo fatigue, just a little Garoppolo fatigue.
As a fan, like I'd watch Jimmy, and it's just so stressful, and every game is so like intense. And it's always the
same, dude. You've seen his performance a million times. You know, he's like he's like a pitcher who doesn't have a fastball. He throws about 88 miles an hour, and he walks a bunch of dudes, and he makes it really, really dramatic every inning. And he like has to get out of another jam. It's like, okay.
Like I feel like I've never seen so many close, intense games than what Niners put up. And I think it's because of Jimmy. Like, he makes these mistakes that kind of just,
they should be blowing out things. I agree.
Yeah, and so I don't know. I think, and I haven't, like, when I saw Lance play, like, it gave me excitement that I haven't really felt since Kaepernick, in the sense of, like, there's this dynamic team, there's this dynamic quarterback, and they're explosive, and it's fun to watch. And I don't know. I think Trey Lance is going to be better, and he has, like, this aura about him. You can see it every time the players get off the field on offense or defense. Lance is pretty much the first one out there, and you can see it on the TV version too. So yeah,
good call, Ethan.
All right, well, I'll catch you later, Grant. I'll see you around.
See you. Ethan reminds me of Matt Saracen from Friday Night Lights. QB1. Did anyone watch that show? QB1. Matt Saracen. Drew, what's up, man? How you doing?
Oh, good, man. You?
Good. Where are you calling from?
Arizona.
Arizona. Good spot. Good spot.
Yeah, it's nice. It's hot. No, it's cold now. It's kind of like back San Francisco has.
Okay.
Weather.
All right. What do you want to talk about?
So I got a question when it comes to the offensive line, because 2 guards are free agents. Tomlinson and Brunskill, do you think they keep both, let one walk, play Banks, or just let them both walk?
I think they drafted Banks because they wanted the option to let Tomlinson walk, because I think he's going to be expensive. But Banks didn't do anything, and I think they now have to keep Tomlinson, because if they don't, they have to sign someone else. I don't think they can just turn the job over to Banks. So it seems like, yeah, they got to keep Tomlinson. Whoa. I think they have to keep Tomlinson. And Brunskill. I don't think they can afford it. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's all good. And then as far as the defensive line, when it comes to Javon Kinlaw, I think they have to keep Eric Armstead. I know you're trade Eric Armstead guy, but Javon Kinlaw, he hasn't done anything in 2 years pretty much. So I think they're stuck with Eric. I don't know what they would do with Kinlaw. I mean, give him the Solomon Thomas treatment, maybe?
Yeah. I think they're going to give him the Jalen Hurd treatment, the Jerick McKinnon treatment. Where it's like, look, we invested in you. Like, take as much time as you need, I guess. But I don't know if he can't play this year. That's a bad sign. He pretty much didn't play. He didn't play at all this year. Did he play at all? He played a little bit. Did he play any at all? He didn't play much this year.
Didn't he have a knee? Was it knee?
I don't even remember him in games. I think he did play a little bit. Hold on, he did play a little bit. Let me get the official stats for Javon Kinlaw this year, because they were not great. Javon Kinlaw stats. Hold on. Let me get it. So he had 4 games, no sacks, 8 tackles, 1 quarterback hit. How many snaps did he play? 149 snaps. Yikes. Yeah, this guy just needs to show. I don't know, man. He's got to show that he's healthy. I'm getting Jalen Hurd vibes.
That's rough.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurd, that guy, yeah. Oh, they cut him at the third thing.
They did. Well, we'll see, man. We'll see. He had a new procedure. They said he cleaned it up, so we'll see. They better. All right, Drew. Good to see you. Pinor. You there?
What up, man?
What's up?
Oh, yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Pretty average. So, okay, so I did ask you one question, then I'll address something that I think Amin the Dream was saying. Okay. So the question is, do you believe that Dak Prescott is better than Jimmy Garoppolo?
Yes.
Okay.
Is that a controversial take? Yes.
Okay, so I'm wondering, why is a bad reporter out of David Lombardi saying that?
I don't know, man.
You know, and I get it that David Lombardi doesn't like you, and maybe he's a little jealous. Who knows? He went to Stanford, so he knows everything, right?
He seems to do every single thing I do on YouTube. He seems to be pretty impressed with my business model here. I don't know. All I'm saying is that man has said that Jimmy's better than Aaron Rodgers. So I think he deep down would not say any quarterback in the league is better than Jimmy. So I'm not really surprised.
Okay, so I'm obviously this whole era of Jimmy Garoppolo is ending with the 49ers. And one thing that like, let's just say there's a few people on Twitter that I see that defends Jimmy, right? I'm trying to figure out, in my mind, why is it that people defend Jimmy Garoppolo to the death? I just don't get it. Like, there's nothing there at all when you look at Jimmy Garoppolo to defend. at all.
My question is will the next fan base that has to root for him carry the baton and do this? The Jimmy Garoppolo defense. Will they do that, or will the next team be like, this guy's a bridge quarterback? We're really not really interested in the Jimmy Garoppolo conversation. I'm curious. Is this just a Niners fan phenomenon?
Okay. So in my opinion, our fan base is very big, right? And because it's so big,
yes,
I think that it allows certain people to enter this fan base. Like you're going to have a certain percentage of idiots in our fan base, right? And I'm calling them idiots because I don't care.
There's a certain percentage of idiots in the world. Yeah, I mean, sure.
Yeah. So the more you add to an audience, the more you're going to have particular types of fans in an audience, you know.
Yes.
Yeah. So in terms of how much idiots are in our fan base, it's pretty big. It's like it's probably the size of Cleveland Browns fans, probably at this point. So when I'm looking at Jimmy and I'm wondering, why do people defend this guy when he does nothing for your team? If anything, he's the biggest liability of your team, and he costs you 2 Super Bowls. I will never understand why people will defend Jimmy Garoppolo. I'll never get it. There's other quarterbacks in our history that have done way more than Jimmy, and they try to say that Jimmy is either as good as, let's just say, someone like Kaepernick, or they try to say that he's better than, let's just say Jeff Garcia. And I disagree wholeheartedly. I think that both those quarterbacks have done way more for this franchise than Jimmy ever did with what they had to work with at the same time.
It's because of Jimmy's record, period. If Trey Lance comes and can recreate Jimmy's success and win more than him, then Niner fans will never say another word about Jimmy Garoppolo ever again, ever.
Because here's the funny thing about the winning, because all year when we talk to Jimmy stands, they always bring up the winning and they say it's because of Jimmy, and if you're a realistic fan or not even just a fan of the Niners, you'll say that, wins are not a result of just the quarterback. They're a team stat. And when it comes down to Trey Lance going forward, if we win, let's just say that we are a playoff team next season, we're a 5th seed, right? If we're a 5th seed, I'm not going to sit there and say it's only because of Trey Lance that we're that 5th seed. Are you kidding me? There's everything around him and the coaching staff together that is the reason why we're a 5th seed this season. And I think that going forward, my expectation on Trey Lance is that we are going to be at least a 5th seed or higher, just because of the stuff that Ben was saying earlier, that the NFC is getting weaker. And as a team, I think our trajectory is a lot higher than other teams, in my opinion. Now, going forward, too, I wanted to say this because Amin the Dream was saying that Kyle has problems, and I understand where Vish is coming from and understand where Amin is coming from. Both of them, I do respect their opinions. When I look at it, I'm just saying Trey Lance will help out with Kyle's problems when it comes down to blowing leads or whatever, right, for the narrative that's going around, that he blows leads. In my opinion, I think that Trey Lance will mitigate those. I think that he will execute enough to where Jimmy can never execute, and it is going to result in the wins in the end of the day. And that's the difference between us and the Rams. I get it that everybody wants Matthew Stafford. Obviously, they're going to the Super Bowl, so you see what happens when you replace a mediocre quarterback with a good quarterback. This is what happens, and Vish was right about it all along. But here's the flip side to that. In my opinion, in reality, I think that I'd rather keep it this way, that we got Trey Lance, than to get Stafford, because Stafford is going to be more short-term success rather than long-term success. So that's just me personally on the whole Trey Lance and Stafford, if I had to choose one, I guess. But yeah, and thank you, by the way, for everything you do whenever you ask the questions and you piss off Kyle. I love it. I'm always in the comment section talking crap about Jimmy and Kyle because I need greatness. I didn't get to see it in the 80s. I didn't get to see it with Steve Young. So I'm waiting for my time, man. And I think that whenever you do your work, I'm just like, thank you, Grant. Thank you for not being a mediocre reporter up there asking stupid garbage questions, because we're tired of it, and we need everybody that's going to ask stupid questions to get out. You guys are kissing the ass of this coach that has problems, and we need it. We need answers, We need answers, and we need this team to win Super Bowls. We're tired of mediocre quarterbacks here. We're tired of mediocre answers from the coaches and everything in the staff, and we just need a better result. We need results, people. And don't be getting triggered if he's asking tough questions that aren't even tough, honestly. It's just you guys think it's tough. But
in comparison,
thank you, Grant.
I wish more Niner fans were like you, man. Would you put some pressure on the organization that you give all this money to? Put some pressure on them. Seriously, good job.
Yep,
love it.
And thank you, Grant. Have an average day, bro.
Yeah, have an average day, average call. That was a mediocre call. It was no, it was good. That's an hour and 35 minutes. I got to wrap it up now. I got stuff to do. Sorry I didn't get George, Swansong, JB Thiz, Sersky, and Tim Myers, but I'll be doing a lot of Cohn phones in the offseason. So I'll see you guys soon. Thanks for watching. Hold on. Let me see if I missed any super chats because I might have. I don't think I did, though. I don't think I did. Oh, I might have. Worried Trey injuries. Oh, Chewy, my bad. Hurt twice, barely playing. Yeah, absolutely. He plays a very physical style of football. They run him a lot. Now, I think getting his finger broken playing behind the number 2 offensive line, I don't think that means he's like injury prone. I think that was a freak accident, but the knee injury, and that was also he ran 15 times that game. I don't know. Curious to see if when Kyle gets a better feel for how to use him and he doesn't have to play behind the backup offensive line and doesn't have to run 15 times, if he'll be more durable. But good question. Seeing if I missed any others. I don't think I did. All right, guys, I gotta go. Thanks for watching. I'll be back later.